is a huge deal. Normally I'd have a better costume, but I only had a little bit of time, so I apologize. But nobody's wearing costumes, so it's okay. So, oh, there we go, we have someone over there. So, tonight I wanted to talk a little bit about Halloween, some of the ways that we like to celebrate Halloween in the States, and fingers crossed, we can play some games, some Halloween games, and do some activities later. Yeah? Yeah? Some of it, okay. All right, so let's start with a little bit about the history of Halloween. So, as many of you know, Halloween is celebrated on the 31st of October, which is today, and it's a tradition that dates back thousands of years. The way that we celebrate Halloween in the United States now is much different than how it was originally celebrated, and the reasons of why we celebrate Halloween are much different now than they were many, many thousands of years ago. Now, some of the traditions that we hold when celebrating Halloween include wearing costumes, going to parties, of course, tons of candy. I hope I have enough for everyone. Movies, television shows, the whole world goes Halloween in the States. And it was a similar type of situation in the past. Halloween originated as part of I pronounced this correctly earlier, a Samain festival, which comes from the Celtic tradition. I've learned that in Spain, actually, the Celts settled in the north of Spain thousands of years ago. So in places like Andalusia, for example, they actually celebrate Halloween the way that the ancient Celtic people celebrated. So many people have told me that they don't understand why we celebrate Halloween in the United States, but we actually got it from you guys. So it's Spain's fault that we celebrate Halloween in the United States. But a lot of the early traditions are still celebrated here in Spain, in small villages, and especially in the northern part of Spain. The ancient Celtics believed that today, on October 31st, the wall between the spirit world and the human world disappeared. And that meant that there were dangers, monsters, ghosts, maleficent spirits that could cause harm to people. So they started traditions to help protect themselves from the evil spirits. Those traditions included putting root vegetables similar to pumpkins called turnips in the front of their houses with faces carved in to scare all of the evil spirits. They would also wear masks so that the evil spirits could not see who they were, and they would have big bonfires. They would put skeletons in the windows, different things meant to disguise their homes, disguise their persons, and disguise their families from the evil spirits. Then once the Celtic people traveled to the United States or to the Americas, they brought those traditions with them, but made some changes. So, for example, instead of the turnips, they used pumpkins, because there were many, many, many pumpkins, and they're huge. So you could put a really big, scary face on them. And the tradition stopped being about hiding from spirits and started being about having fun and eating candy. So a lot of the religious and spiritual symbolism left, and now it's just a night of fun and mischief, naughtiness. So, when I first came to Spain, one of the things that people would tell me about Halloween was that there were certain rules, certain things that you had to do on Halloween. For example, you have to wear a scary costume. You have to wear dark, mysterious clothes, like a monster. But in the United States, it's actually not like that. Scary monsters, vampires, zombies, those are all very important for Halloween. But for us, Halloween is a day of fantasy. So it's the one day of the year where you can be anyone that you want to be. It doesn't have to be a monster. It doesn't have to be something scary. It could be something sexy. It could be something funny. It could be something playful. So that's a big difference between how people celebrate here and how we celebrate in the States. So let's look at some examples. So I mentioned sexy. Now, Halloween is the one day of year where ladies and gentlemen have an excuse to wear very sexy clothes, and no one can say, oh, what are you wearing? They're like, oh, I'm a pirate. You know, so sexy anything, sexy police officer, sexy pirate, sexy Alice in Wonderland, just any excuse to wear your shortest dress, your lowest shirt, and your highest boots. And you're like, it's Halloween, trick or treat, oh, look at me. So it's an excuse for a fantasy. So lots of sexy clothes, and then lots of funny clothes. So these ladies are friends, and they are all dressed in a special theme. And I want to see who here, look at the different costumes, who can guess what theme they're celebrating. You already know? What is it?
Robin Williams.
Yeah! Robin Williams. We have Mrs. Doubtfire, Mort from Mork and Mindy, The Jungle Book, Popeye, Peter Pan, the Genie, and that's from The Birdcage. Candy for you, sir. Do you like chocolate? Yeah? There you are. Of course, Robin Williams. So it's a day of fantasy. Like, for example, I'm not Beyonce, but I would love to be Beyonce. So on Halloween, I could just wear a long wig and walk around doing this and say, I'm Beyonce. And no one's gonna say, Lena, you're not Beyonce, because it's Halloween. We have people that dress like famous celebrities, people that dress like some of your favorite television shows. So we have Drake here, and Baby Drake. And we have Game of Thrones. This is not the actress from Game of Thrones. It looks just like her. That is not her. But it's a day for you to be anything and anyone that you want to be. And Halloween is literally everywhere in the United States. Every shop, every television show, all do a Halloween-themed episode. If you were to turn on any American television show right now, there would be people dressed in costumes. I know some of these shows air in Spain. So for example, this is Bones. I don't know if you've seen this show. I've seen it here in Spain, but Halloween is everywhere. Like, I can't explain how you can't open your door and not see a child with a bag of candy or a jack-o'-lantern or hear Halloween music. It's a huge deal for us. And there are no rules for your Halloween costumes. Again, you can be anything. You can just say, I'm this, and that's who I am. The only rule that we really have is that you choose something respectful. So some people try to use Halloween as an excuse to be extra naughty, and maybe to be something that is disrespectful. So as long as you're wearing something that's fun and you're not trying to be mean or hurt anyone's feelings, you're celebrating Halloween. So Halloween is very much a part of American culture. It's almost as important as Christmas. There's a lot of preparation. There are movies made specifically for Halloween. There are television shows made specifically for Halloween. You can walk into any shop, any supermarket, and it's as if you've walked into a haunted house. Halloween is everywhere. There are Halloween parties. I've been to so many Halloween parties, can't even remember, but for all ages. It's not just something for children. It's something for adults, for grandmas, for grandpas, for pets. Everyone gets into the Halloween spirit. And when I said Halloween is everywhere, I meant everywhere. Even some of the more famous, popular attractions in the States, like Disneyland, Knott's Berry Farm, Six Flags Magic Mountain, they completely changed the entire park. And in fact, celebrate Halloween for the entire month of October. Imagine that, every day for the entire month having to go dressed in a costume to work, if you worked at one of these places. Kind of terrible. Maybe you wouldn't like Halloween so much, but it's such a big deal that everything turns Halloween. Now my favorite part of Halloween, the treats. Here, a lot of people think that we just eat lots of candy and that's all we do. We do eat lots of candy, but we also eat Halloween-themed food. My mom used to spend hours coming up with the most imaginative, complicated Halloween foods, and half the time I had no idea what I was eating or what monster it was supposed to be. But it's a huge deal for us. So, there are the traditional treats that you may know of. The candied apples. I'm not a big fan of the candy apples, but they're a huge Halloween tradition. And the candy corn. Has anyone here ever seen candy corn in person or tasted it? No? Well, there's a reason for that. The reason is there's really only one place in the world that you can get candy corn, and you can only get it one time of year. You can only get it really in the United States or sometimes in the United Kingdom, in the UK, and you can only get it in October. There's no other time of year that you can get this candy. That's how big of a deal Halloween is. Now, I'll let you in on a little secret. It does not taste very good. It's just sugar. So it's not worth it, but it has a lot of history and there's a lot of symbolism. So people will wait in lines for hours just to get their candy corn, and then they'll save it for the whole year because they won't be able to get any more. But it's not that good. It's not good at all. You wouldn't enjoy it, I don't think. Of course, we have our bowls of Halloween candy and our little trick-or-treaters, and tons of Halloween-themed food. Mummies in a blanket. Do you know what these are? Little banana ghosts, cookies, cupcakes, everything goes Halloween. Bakeries, pizza places, like Domino's pizzas, like we have a Halloween pizza. Just Halloween everywhere. The United States is the place that celebrates Halloween in the biggest way, but it's not the only place that celebrates Halloween, obviously. As I mentioned earlier, the tradition of Halloween actually came from the Celts, and many of them settled here in Spain. So a lot of our traditions and a lot of the ways that you celebrate Halloween are the ways that Halloween was originally celebrated. And so we look at you as an example of what we do for Halloween. We have some people here in the United Kingdom, in Poland. This is the United States. Depending on where you celebrate, it will determine what you're celebrating. So, for example, I'm from California. I'm from a place called San Diego. San Diego is right on the border of Mexico. And if you're familiar with Mexico, you know that they celebrate Dia de los Muertos, which is kind of like Halloween. But they're very different traditions. There in Mexico, it's about honoring your family. It's a day of honor and celebration. It's a day to look back at the history of your family. It has very strong connections to Catholicism, to religion. So there, it's a very spiritual, very important holiday. Whereas for us, it's just, again, eating candy and being Beyonce, and that's it. And movies and fun. So depending on where you celebrate, it changes the importance of this day.